What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Warehouse Series and welcome to another episode of Quick Breakdowns. Today we're looking at Discord member Hashirama's pallet. They're saying that they're building good pallets, but they are struggling with their times. How can I increase my times? Now, usually I say that, it comes with just repetition. It comes with, just putting your weeks in at a warehouse. If you're a very new selector and you're building good pallets, usually it becomes second nature. Right now, you still might be thinking about making that good pallet. Well, it comes second nature where you just build that good pallet without thinking about it. And that is usually where you increase your times. Now, we're going to take a look at 3-year freezer pallets, and I'm going to see if I can try to help you with something different to maybe right now we can start increasing those times. And also, before we get to that, guys, if you want to subscribe to the channel, I appreciate it. All right, so taking a look at your first freezer pallet, you're right. You're building beautiful pallets. You're building absolutely beautiful pallets. And by looking at this one, I would think that you did not struggle on this one, if I had to be right on this. So it looks like you got 2 layers of these longer cases down here, little gap. We came back out with our case. I like how you did that. Guys, when you have a gap, you want to come back out to the perimeter of the pallet, even though you have this little gap, and this person did just that. That way you're able to fit your next layer on. And from here on up, all the same size case, and absolutely 100%, guys, if you're watching this, you want to tie in these cases. You do not want to column stack them. Reason I put this up there is because, one, yeah, you're building good pallets, but for other people to see. This is how you should do this when you have this type of product. So I'm sure you're not struggling on this one. Let's take a look at your second pallet. All right, your second pallet, once again, great job. You're building fantastic, and I can absolutely see you wasting time on this. If you're a newer selector, this stuff is not second nature to you. So I see you really moving cases around to make it look as pretty as you possibly can, which is awesome. You take pride in your work and you want to build good pallets. And right here, we got a nice tie-in, and then we're all the way down here. We just get all small cases. So you have a lot of cases on top of these 3 tie-ins, way too low on the pallet to be tying in. I definitely would not column stacking, because column stacking definitely saves time, but we want to make sure we're up on our pallet before we start column stacking products, especially heavier products. We want to make sure that we're mid or over midway on our pallet with a nice solid tied in base. Now, I would say probably right about here. So I want you to try this. And for anybody that's watching that's struggling with their times and you're getting close to the end of your probation weeks, if you're in the beginning of your probation weeks, let's say you're on week 3 of week 12, if that's what it is at your place, keep stacking like this. All right, keep stacking like this, because eventually, like I said, it's going to become second nature. But if you're looking to increase your times because you're towards the end of your probation weeks, right here, I would have called it quits on tying in cases, and I would have started column stacking, because column stacking is quicker, and we have enough of a sturdy pallet where when we start building columns, it's not going to hurt us. And what I would do is, once I start column stacking, if stuff's unsturdy, one wrap right around the middle of the pallet and keep moving. Unless you have to wrap your whole pallet, maybe you want to take the opportunity to wrap from here to here. Guys, if you do not have wrap machines at your building and you have to hand wrap your pallets and you're stopping because you have an unstable load to wrap from the bottom up to the point that you're having a problem with. And then when you finish off your pallet, just wrap the top of it. I see people on here, whenever they send me stuff, it looks like they wrap, and then they wrap the whole thing again. We waste too much time wrapping pallets. It's absolutely a time killer. If you have wrap machines, wrap just around the middle of the pallet. But let's get back to your pallet, what I'm talking about here. Right at this section right here, we tied in nicely. Start column stacking the last cases. If you have a headset, and you could say how much more. If you get to this point right here, how much more? You have 60 cases left. Start column stacking, and let's see if the top of this goes any quicker. It might not look as pretty as this, but it's still going to be a presentable pallet because you have a strong base. Let's get on to your third picture. All right, your third picture I want to look at, we got 2 rows of Excels. And remember, guys, you definitely want to tie these Excels in. You don't want to column stack these. Opportunity to tie these in, tie them in. If you only have 2, then maybe you column stack 2. But when you have full rows like this, definitely tie them in. We got a nice solid pallet. I drew a red line on here. All these small cases up here, look, we're more than midway up the pallet, column stack them. Because when I look at this, I see and especially if you're an inexperienced selector, I see somebody that's taken too much time to really make their palette look pretty, which once again, I love it because it's great work ethic. But if you're trying to make time from that red line up, let's try column stacking. All right, column stack the rest of these small cases and try not worry about so much of tying in. Now remember, when you column stack, you still want to follow my T and cross method, because you want the bigger cases pointing in and you want the smaller cases running along the line of the T. If you did not watch that cross and T video that came out yesterday, I highly recommend watching it. When you get into smaller cases, that's when it comes into play. If you have all big cases like this, you're not following the cross and T method. It's when you have these small ones. And yes, you do it with column stacking as well. We want to make sure we got the big cases facing towards the middle of that palette, and we want the smaller cases on the inside. And you can definitely get away with column stacking. You just don't want to column stack this way where it's going to fall over. You want to column stack facing towards the middle of the palette. I hope this helps establish your base midway or a little bit over midway, and then when you get to the small cases, start column stacking. And tell me if you're making your times any better. I think it's going to help you, because I think you're just spending too much time tying in cases. Guys, that's it for another quick breakdown. I hope I helped this Discord member. Remember, come over on Discord. You can private message me. Leave the message on the public forum if you want to, and I will help you through this, and hopefully we can get those times increased. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.